What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to JJD TV. I'm your host, Josh, and we are here with a very fun episode. I've been honestly really looking forward to making this type of episode. It is another transfer rumors episode, but it's a little more in-depth transfer rumors episode. We know from the January window we got absolutely no movement. The most exciting thing to happen that honestly window was in the final days when I went live and took off my hat for you guys. So I thought I would come here and do something a little bit more fun to actually get you guys looking forward to some potential departures and some potential arrivals come summertime. So without any further ado, let's just jump in and we're gonna start in goal. So with our goaltender situation, we know Burki is been under a lot of pressure. He's out injured right now. Even before their injury, there was talk that he was going to be dropped, and now Hitz is playing relatively well, but Hitz's contract expires in the summertime. So I believe one of two things is gonna happen, that the goaltending situation will be addressed and either Hitz will get re-signed, Burki will be sold, or Hitz will be let walk and Burki will become honestly our backup keeper. And that means we have to target someone. We need to target a new number one. And there's three names that kind of come to mind, and I have different reasons for each one. The first name to come to mind is Andre Anuna from obviously Ajax, and solid keeper, someone that I would definitely welcome at the club. But when it looks at specific positions, center backs, potentially two center back signings, maybe a CDM, winger, backup striker, I feel like the goaltending situation is the least important, and obviously that means hopefully a low transfer fee will be paid. I think Anuna's got a lot of honestly potential, and that'll make for a larger transfer fee. The other goalie is similar situation, and that's Dragowski from obviously Fiorentina, and the reason I like him is because he's young. He rocks number 69 like an absolute animal over in Syria, but he is a solid keeper, and I've heard a lot of wonderful things about him. Plus, with Piszczek leaving, it's nice to have another Pole here in the club, and he's another goaltender I would welcome, but I still think the transfer fee, same with Anuna, could be anywhere between 20-30 million because these are young, highly rated goalkeepers. There is a quick fix, and that's a third keeper I'm going to mention, and that's Peter Gulácsi from obviously RB Leipzig. There's rumors of even as low as a 10 million euro buyout clause that's going to be in his contract, anywhere up to 15 as well. And that is just absolutely dirt cheap for a keeper of his quality with Bundesliga experience. And if you pay something that little for him, which even in COVID times is a steal, your goaltending situation is still figured out for the next 4 to 5 years. So preferably, I'd go for Dragowski just because of his age. But I mean, if we're looking at price and looking to purchase other players, it's Gulácsi, 100%. Then that moves on to our center backs, which I told you guys, I still don't think unless Schultz is sold and potentially even somehow we flip Meunier, our right back and left back situation will stay as is. But I do think we're going to sign a center back. And whether it's 1, 2, I don't know. But I'm going to throw this name out here because a lot of the names I've been mentioning over the course of this channel have actually come into some fruition with actual legitimate rumors. So I'm going to throw the name back out here. Why not? Boubacar Kamara. I'm going to mention him because what's going on in Marseille is absolutely insane. If you guys want to check out a cool video on that, Adrian from Rabona TV just did an excellent take on what's happening with Marseille and why AVB is no longer at the club. But they are going to be looking to potentially have some sales, and especially if they don't get European football, Boubacar Kamara's, honestly, his transfer fees are going to keep dropping, and I think he is the perfect fit for the center back. And even if we don't need him in the center back position, I've mentioned to you guys he can play as a CDM. So whether he plays just in front of the center backs or as a center back, he'd be a perfect signing in my opinion. And then that obviously goes up to the manager kind of rumor. You guys know the rumors that's going on right now with Marco Rose, and I personally believe it's going to be the man to come in. And with it, potentially Neuhaus. There's been a lot of talk, and I personally believe if we sign Marco Rose, Neuhaus will follow suit to the club. So that takes care of the midfielder position, because more than likely when Neuhaus comes in, that means Dahoud's going to go out. And then going up front, we're looking at potential wingers. I think we're a little light right now on wingers. Even with Hazard back, we're still a little bit light. But again, the main reason I want to mess with this situation is because I think it might actually happen. We have two massive superstars here, Haaland, Sancho. We know that. I personally believe, and still do believe, that Haaland will be at the club for a number of seasons. Sancho, on the other hand, is a wild card because A, he's wanted, he's young, he's English, and some of the big Premier League clubs are going to come for him. He's got a huge value right now of anywhere between 80 to 120 million euros. So if Dortmund are looking to move on a player and they move on Sancho to the Premier League, that gets us out of any kind of hole that we're in financially because of the pandemic. And honestly, Dortmund's done a very well and solid job at staying afloat. And with this money from Sancho, we can easily come up and strive through those finances, as well as pick up a lot of mandatory targets. So there's been 3 names that's I'm going to mention here. I've mentioned all 3 in the channel, but these rumors are starting to come up more because Sancho's being linked to the door. I think Sancho's on excellent form, and I've said my opinion. If he wants to stay, keep him. If he wants to go, let him go. Because with that money, we can completely rebuild this team and give our new hopeful manager, Marco Rose, a chance at going for some potential silverware. So those 3 names, I'm excited to. The first one to mention is, you guys have known I've mentioned this a long time, and now I've actually seen some rumors about it. That's Nicolas González from Stuttgart. You guys were mentioning to me that Tanguy Koulibaly could be a potential target. I disagreed. I said that Koulibaly's not a finished product yet. He couldn't, I don't think, in my opinion, step in and take over Sancho's position. But Nicolas González, I said, he's an Argentine international, 22 years old. He's rapid, he's good on the wings. He can play as a center attacking mid and even a striker. Very versatile, and he'd be someone I would welcome with open arms to Borussia Dortmund. The other player is, of course, very familiar with it, is Malen. And again, whether it's playing with Haaland as a winger or if Haaland needs a break because the poor man plays each and every game, he can play as a striker, and he's someone I'm comfortable leading the line at Dortmund in those games where Haaland has a rest. So having both of those players come in, and I personally do believe out of these 3 names I'm going to mention, 2 of them have a solid chance to be signed as a Sancho replacement and some extra reinforcements for the winger and striker position. So for me, González, Malen, 100%. And now here's a fun thing to talk about. That is Memphis Depay. Memphis Depay is a player I've followed since he was a left winger, banging in free kick goals and rockets of shots at PSV. He went over and still played left wing for, obviously, Manchester United. And then when he started at Lyon, he was part of a very dynamic front four where he played on the left-hand side. But I've been following Depay because I think he's a class player on and off the pitch, but he's got a big personality, and rightfully so. He's a great player. He likes to be, kind of like Messi, have a team built completely around him, and he basically decided he was sick and tired of playing on the wing. He wanted to play as a false 9. He wanted everything to go through him, and if you saw that Dutch national team, completely rechanged. It's now a 4-3-3. He plays as a center forward with wingers off of him, and everything really runs through him. Same thing happened at Lyon. He no longer plays as a winger. They play in a 4-3-3. He's that center forward with 2 wingers beside him, and that really wrote the end to Moussa Dembélé, who was the original striker there with Depay on one of the wings, but now Dembélé was obviously sold because he just didn't fit in that team. If Memphis doesn't want to play on the wings, he's not going to fit in this Dortmund team. He can't drop back and play as a cam because we have Royce, Reina, and Brandt there, and of course, he's not going to share a striker situation with Haaland, and as we're going to spend that much money on a free transfer for Depay, that means big wages, which means should be a lock for a starting 11. In my opinion, as much as I love Depay, he doesn't fit this team or any team going really forward unless that we switch to a 2-striker formation, which again, I don't think they complement each other. So to wrap this video up, because there's a lot of information for you guys always ask me, how would he fix his team? What do you want to do? And I didn't really feel comfortable giving my full out opinion, but if you want it very quickly, and a lot of things would have to fall in a very certain amount of places, this is what I would look to see. The first thing is obviously the sale of, unfortunately, Jadon Sancho would bring us a lot of money, put us in a very, very good financial situation to get some reinforcements. And again, not saying it's going to happen, and not saying I want it to happen, but if it did, and it's looking likely to, it would honestly solve a lot of problems. The second one is obviously the departure of Dahoud. I think it's written in the stars. Unfortunately, my boy is going to be probably heading to Ligue 1. And then, of course, either Hitz or Burki leaving in goal. With that money we get from those players, we bring in Marco Rose, our new manager, our leading man. We address the goaltending situation with a very cheap move for Peter Gulácsi, new starting goaltender. Easy, touch, done. The defense, again, not a ton of money is going to go into it, but one solid center back, Boubacar Kamara for me. Again, relatively cheap because of Marseille's financial situations, and if they don't get, honestly, European football, which the way the club's going, it's not looking likely. Very, very, very cheap and talented player we can pick up there. Neuhaus following suit with Rose coming over here. Huge boost to that midfield. And then for the front, honestly, 2 signings for me, and that is González and Donny Malen, which I know it's Daniel Malen. I keep calling him Donny. I don't know if that's right. Either way, we bring him in, and that addresses the winger position as well as, of course, a backup striker. If Haaland's not there, González or Malen can play as a striker. And even if we want to fit them both on the team, Donny Malen can play on the left, González can play on the right, and Haaland can be your striker. So there's a wide range little bit of transfer information for you guys. Let me know in the comments what you thought about that, if you agree with these transfers, if you think they're going to be a fit. That is just my broad, generic kind of mold for Dortmund and kind of a direction I might want to see us go, because I think it would leave a lot of financial stability for the club and address positions we desperately need with strategic deals. So thank you everyone for listening. Definitely, like I said, comment your opinions on these transfers. And if you're new around here, be sure to comment, like, and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.